As I mentioned earlier, we had an off-duty firefighter come into the fire station. We don't know what transpired. That's under investigation by the sheriff's department. What we do know is that off-duty firefighter shot one firefighter specialist who's a 44-year-old male who passed away. We also know that he shot a 54-year-old male captain who was transported in a critical but stable.
What? What? You just said live. Why'd you cut the feed? Why'd you cut the fucking feed?
An active scene here. We are about a half a mile away from Fire Station 81, which we have been talking about all morning long. The scene of that tragic shooting where we have learned, according to our sources, that one firefighter was tragically killed, another injured, and we do not know that firefighter's condition, but we did see as that individual was airlifted to Henry May.
Oh yeah, now the fire's engulfed the house. It looks like it's stone on the outside. Like there's not a real big fear of collapse. It's more about freaking things just gonna burn off. You just let them, go as they, just let it burn out.
Earlier this morning, it all started around 10:53, so just minutes before 11 a.m. We learned that deputies from Palmdale Sheriff Station responded here to this Fire Station 81 in Agua Dulce regarding multiple gunshot victims at that location. And now here we are, close to 2 hours later, an active scene here where investigators are trying to figure out just what happened. We don't know about motive. We don't know much about the circumstances surrounding this. We know, though, that at this fire station along Sierra Highway in Agua Dulce, a rural area surrounded by ranches, we know that this tragic shooting took place. And we're learning new details as we monitor this other scene not far from here that you both just talked about in Acton, a home which we have seen burning, where we know the LA Sheriff's Department Special Enforcement Bureau, so essentially SWAT, has been, and where the LA Times is reporting that according to property records, the home is owned by a county firefighter. Now, we also know, and this is grim, that a body is seen outside the property, but
it was in a pool, but friggin' and this seems like a rift between the fire department. Seems like there were some freaking illicit things going on, like, some legal shit, like drugs, pedophilia.
we don't know if that's the suspect. We really can't confirm much surrounding the details here. It's an active scene that we're monitoring. And as I wait here at Fire Station 81, we are awaiting any details about where
they kept on saying it was a suspect, and so this person was a suspect, and maybe dude was, maybe someone was wearing a wire. Maybe this is a bad freaking I mean, it's a bust, but maybe the dude freaking realized he was going to lose his everything and just shot himself and fell in the pool.
Stand with his investigation. More information on the victims, more information on potential motive and enforcement vehicles.
Well, they pulled down. They pulled down that video. Oh no, here it is. So that's the update. 3 hours ago, 1 hour ago.
Arrival, they discovered one victim, male, white, 44 years of age, a firefighter engineer suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to the upper torso. He was unfortunately pronounced deceased at the scene. The second individual, a 54-year-old firefighter, captain for the LA County Fire Department, was also suffering from gunshot wounds. He was immediately transported to Henry Mayo, where he was treated and went into surgery, and as far as I hear, is listed in critical but stable. One victim, male, white, 44.
Male, white?
4 years of age, a firefighter engineer suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to the upper torso. He was unfortunately pronounced deceased at the scene. The second individual, a 54-year-old firefighter, captain for the LA County Fire Department, was also suffering from gunshot wounds. He was immediately transported to Henry Mayo, where he was treated and went into surgery, and as far as I hear, is listed in critical but stable condition.
I guess he's not white. And see, this is why I freaking make comments. Oh, I guess that must not have been a white person because, hey, no problem calling out white people.
Based on witness statements at the scene that were at the fire station when the shooting happened, they gave a name of the suspect and a description of the suspect vehicle. That vehicle was linked to a residence in the 2600 block of Bent Spur Drive. And we know that that suspect that shot those two firemen is also a off-duty fireman that also works at LA County Station number 81, the same location.
I guess he must not be white.
Deputies immediately started responding to the suspect's residence, at which time they also received a house fire call, and the house in question on the 2600 block of Bent Spur Drive was on fire. As the sheriff indicated, members of our Special Enforcement Bureau immediately started to respond, and they contained the location. While containing the location, they saw an individual in a small pool outside of the actual residence, appeared to be suffering a gunshot wound to the head. At this time, it's unknown if it's self-inflicted or not, but we know that no deputies fired, and we don't believe anybody else.
Dead body in the pool.
Else was at the location, so it appears to be self-inflicted. We cannot with 100% certainty say that that is our suspect because we have not made an approach on the residence yet. The house is still burning. Once they feel it is safe to make an approach, our Special Enforcement Bureau officers will make an approach and clear the location. They didn't immediately make an approach because we had gathered information that they believed there was nobody else inside the location and that the one person that we were looking for was outside the location.
So they must have held off just, like, based on the faith of those involved. Because that looked like a pretty big, dwelling. Maybe about 8,000 square foot.
Again, this is very early on. The actual motive of the crime, we're unsure yet. We still have to conduct interviews with all the fire station personnel that worked at the station all 3 shifts, family members, conduct next of kin notifications.
Why are they still wearing masks?
Process both crime scenes, first the firehouse, and then ultimately the house that is on fire once it's deemed to be safe to process.
Did we just witness the freaking dude is a known pedophile with freaking ties to Epstein? Is that what just happened here? Because this looks like the freaking like one of the most famous things that people do when you're trying to deceive. It's just like how can we just cover up their faces? And this is a nice way to cover up their faces. Like, restrictions have been lifted, right? No need for face masks. And then, everyone just kind of, they do their same, gestures. Hey, y'all are Masons, right? And so you just keep your hands in the same place, right? Because you just got to go along with it. Trust in the plan. We'll tell you, but we must prove that you're worth it. Or else, if you go for it and you're blackballed, you'll never get to know. You don't need to know.
Now I'm gonna...
Friggin'... Oh, that's just a common, gesture. No, parade arrest is.
Ask Dr. Contreras with Henry Mayhall.
Hey, wait, what? Hold on. Was that guy wearing gloves? Mm-mm-mm. That's what I wanted.
Now I'm going to
Keep on virtue signaling.
ask Dr. Contreras with Henry Mayhall. Henry.
You're going to do all of that. You're going to wear your mask, but you're not going to stay 6 feet apart. Oh, we don't need to.
Mayo to come up and talk about the situation with the individual in the hospital right now.
Why the fuck is there a fucking doctor? I'm not a doctor. I just play one in real life. But just notice, hand gestures and just freaking dude, how much you getting paid for your fucking job? And isn't that like just excessive waste? Why not use a freaking, a Clorox and a washcloth and just wipe it down? But you're polluting. You're using these disposable items that should only be used, like accordingly. Come on. If you got a virtue signal, you shouldn't have me virtue signaling for you.
Good afternoon. It's always a heavy heart and deep sadness for any trauma surgeon and for any medical facility on a day like this. And my condolences go to the families involved in this tragedy. And the LA...
So it must be a white male that's involved in this because they're making a spectacle out of it. And they've only spoken of one white male.
County firefighters are brothers in the protection of the community as trauma surgeons. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge the family. Second, I'd like to discuss the shooting. As far as the hospital was mobilized at approximately 11 o'clock and 11:30, in which an active shooting event was occurring. We were mobilized and prepared, and I would like to acknowledge the hospital.
But you're not going to do all this, for the mass shootings that occurred, like the 3-4 mass shootings. It was like 4 mass shootings that occurred within a week. One of which was done by a white guy.
For being prepared handedly for that event. We received one firefighter in this tragedy, a gunshot wound victim, which we took to the operating room and stabilized him. He's in critical condition. All life-threatening injuries have been addressed, and the recovery process is ongoing at this time.
Man, you did all that, like, you served a man, that was shot, and then you're out here doing a little PR, like, you're so worried about wearing scrubs and all that shit, right? But you're gonna come outside and, with your coat on, oh, this is my outdoor one, there I've got an indoor one, but you're still transmitting friggin' the Wu flu. Kung flu! Ah! I did my job. I did my speech. Oh, you know what? Friggin' time to get this outstanding gentleman with his gloves that he's touching everything else with. But you know what? It's okay because he's got sanitary wipes.
Now we are going to take questions, and I don't know who wants.
Why is she taking questions?
To handle that from the PIO. Go ahead. Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah. Wait before.
Oh, you want to do Spanish first? Okay, we're going to do
Yeah,
Spanish
yeah, let's do
translation, and we'll
Spanish
have
first.
questions, so hold that question, you'll go first. All right.
A eso de las 10:50.
You want to do Spanish first? I don't know who wants to handle that from the PIO. Go ahead. Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead.
Where's fucking hand white dude? Oh wait, because it's a white police officer, he doesn't need any sanitation, right? Everyone just needs to be sanitized from that white cop, right?
Oh, you want to do Spanish first? Okay, we're going to do Spanish translation, and then we'll have questions, so hold that question, you'll go first. All right.
A eso de las 10:53 de esta mañana, nuestro departamento recibió una llamada por la 911 a la avenida del 8700, la estación de San, y fueron y desafortunadamente un capitán, y en este momento teniendo dentro de algo, también fue descrito ese en la cabeza persona, y no han hecho, y pues nuestras con cambiar ahora, eso es algo que está a terminar eso mismo. That's always, workplace violence is some dispute is always a possibility, but until we have interviewed every single one of the potential witnesses there at the scene, all of the employees, family members will be able to ascertain whether or not what it is, and we work on that.
Oh, and this is where it just comes to an abrupt end.
He was going for anybody at the fire station, and the home where the fire is that owned by the suspect?
As I mentioned earlier, we had an off-duty firefighter come into the fire station. We don't know what transpired. That's under investigation by the sheriff's department. What we do know is that off-duty firefighter shot one firefighter specialist, who's a 44-year-old male who passed away. We also know that he shot a 54-year-old male captain who was transported in a critical but...
Yeah. Why they just cut it off there?